Okay, we're back after the holiday. We have a 1975 property, 1,900 square feet. It is older, and you ever wonder why I keep recording older homes? It's because this is where the content is. This is where everything's broken.
This is where the magic happens.
Yeah. I was just on this with Will. I was doing like a 5,000 square foot property, and it was perfect. It was immaculate. You know, they leave little notes all over the place, and I was like, well, there's nothing to record here. So I'm back on the 1975 ones and showing y'all broken stuff. So we found a few broken things on this one so far already. Just show you what some of the things that Josh found. Let's go check it out.
So one of the main areas we look at a home inspection is the roof. We walk any roof that we can safely get on. That's not too tall for us. Today is a great day for a roof inspection as part of the home inspection. It rained for about 8 hours last night. So if something's leaking, we should be able to find it today. So I found several good things on this roof, some storm damage, some poor ventilation, and areas that you can look at to show for signs of that. So one of the first things we see on this roof is the sellers have replaced the water heater with a tankless, and they put a new vents and cap on it. First thing I see is it's not painted. They haven't done any sealant around the storm collar, and on the top of this particular type of big cap, you have some drainage holes, but it's not sloped properly, and so we have water sitting on the top of it, possibly rust in it too. Next thing we notice on this roof, we do have a ridge vent above. We're above the garage right now, but on the outside walls, there's no soffits and no eaves, so you won't have any air intake for proper ventilation. And one symptom when you have poor ventilation is you start to have moss growing on your roof, and that's something that we can look at without even going inside the home and saying, you know, there's poor ventilation in this area, and what that'll do is that'll lead to rot and your shingles not performing as intended. The last couple items we see on this roof, number one behind me, is we have a pretty severely damaged mechanical exhaust vent. We're gonna guess we've had several storms, hurricanes, derechos this past summer, so we're gonna guess that, you know, that's some storm damage. We also see, for the most part, the shingles are in decent condition, but we're starting to see some granular loss along the ridges, and then some plumbing vent stacks where the boots need to be replaced. So you only do some roof maintenance every 4 to 6 years, so we're guessing this roof is probably in the 10-year-old range, so it's probably on its second cycle of roof maintenance needing to be done to help prolong the life and prevent future roof leaks. So one of our clients' concerns for their property purchase today is some foundation settlement. We do notice several areas of both previous and current cracking on the exterior of the brick. There's places where they've done some repair. And one of the things we notice in this corner of the house where there's more cracking than the rest of the house is there used to be a big tree here. The circumference looks like it's about 2 to 3 feet, so a fairly large tree. And so, you know, when you have trees growing next to the foundation, that can cause some foundation settlement. But also when you remove trees, if it's not properly backfilled, that can also cause foundation settlement. So one thing we notice on this area right next to this is we have some previous repair, but some new cracks have opened up. And so that's one area where we're going to explain to the client, we have had some foundation settlement, most likely from this tree. So one thing to note is, even though you have had settlement on foundation, that does not mean the foundation is bad or the foundation has failed. Especially in the Houston area where we're located, we have expansive soils, big trees. All those factors are going to cause what we consider seasonal settlement, which means that some cracks can show up throughout the season, especially during times of drought or times of heavy rain. But does not mean you need foundation repair automatically. It does not mean your foundation is bad. Another thing we saw on this property is the AC is older. It's from 2011. That means it also has the older R22 Freon. So something to think about when you're purchasing a property. If it does have an older AC with the R22 Freon, they no longer make that Freon, which means it's very expensive to replace if you can even find the Freon. So when it's time to replace this system, you'll have to replace all the components. One of the things that we do during our home inspection process is we do a first pass on the inside. We run a lot of water during the course of that first pass. We run the dishwasher so that when we walk the exterior of the home, if anything's leaking to the outside, we can catch it. In the case of today, we have several water lines coming down. This is from the dishwasher leaking not only into the kitchen area, but also behind the dishwasher through the exterior wall.
Okay, coming inside, we are in the garage, and one of the things that we notice with this tankless water heater is at the top there, they don't have the proper clearance around the flue, so that is a fire hazard. You want a 1-inch clearance on the top of the flue. One of the things that we did notice too is that they installed PEX plumbing lines. That's one of the things I complain about the most whenever people are flipping homes is they don't update the plumbing lines, and that's probably one of the easiest things to do with this PEX system that they're installing now these days. Another thing with this water heater is you want to make sure that the gas line is the proper size. They leave the old half-inch gas line in place, and they don't up the size to the water heater, and this time they did, which is good. And the other thing is the temperature and pressure relief valve. It terminates into the garage, which isn't really that big of a deal. It slopes outside, but as a home inspectors, we have to call it out. So Josh just did a gas leak detection on it, and we did find a gas leak right here. So something else that the future home buyer or current homeowners need to take care of.
One of the safety things that we saw on the house today, and I hope this was not installed by a licensed electrician, is we have some loose Romex wiring behind me. As it comes through and goes up to the garage door, it actually they passed it through an opening in the metal framing for the garage door opener. So that could cut the sheathing, and then it's touching the garage door, and so that has a possibility to actually put power to the garage door as a shock hazard.
All right, we're coming up into the attic space. Let's see what we're gonna find today. This plumbing stack, you can see it's being held together with some tape. Ducts are resting across the attic floor, and in the Houston area, these tend to condensate and can cause water droplets across your ceiling. You can see that we have new PEX water lines, which is nice. And you can see the old galvanized ones over there that you can maybe even see the corrosion in them. There you go, right there. You got some corrosion, old corrosion, so they've replaced the old corroded pipes, which is nice. One of the things that we notice here is that they've replaced the coils in the attic, and they've upgraded it to the 410 model. So the models don't really aren't compatible. So we don't know if the HVAC technician changed the exterior components to make sure that the older condenser outside can handle our 410 Freon. So it's something that we'll write up and have them further evaluate. Then we have a damaged ridge board right here. The structure itself seems to be holding up okay, but there is no purlins in this attic at all. So it's something to be worried about. Let's see, you do have some old galvanized water lines poking out over here. So when we're inside the property, we're gonna try to identify if they replaced all the water lines. Did replace all the ducts, but they didn't hang them up properly. You still want those to be extended and raised. Insulation doesn't look too bad. So with the no purlins in the attic, yes, structurally it doesn't meet code, but remember this house was built in 1975 and it was fine since 1975. We don't see any sags in the roof line. Structurally it's holding up the roof structure. So we'll let our client know that they're not there, but do they need to upgrade it right away? Probably not. Let's go see if we found anything on the inside. And if you like these type of videos, make sure you hit like and subscribe. Walking around the interior, we're noticing that we're getting some straight joint cracks. A lot of people get these cracks confused thinking that they're foundation related. That's not always the case. Always shifting, which causes the sheetrock to shift too as well, and that is probably where two pieces of sheetrock come together and you get a little bit of shifting and you get a joint crack. So remember, anything that's straight whenever you're looking at a property is man-made, and typically those straight up and down vertical cracks are normal seasonal movement, and what you're really looking for are the violent cracks that shoot off in crazy angles and kind of are wider on one section and smaller on another. Those are the cracks that you really want to focus on. Same thing is happening in here. You can see the separation in between the crown molding and the ceiling, and you're starting to see some separation in here. That also does not mean that There is foundation failure. Yes, the foundation is moved, but it doesn't mean that it is failed. So it's just something that you want to keep an eye on, kind of collect data as you walk through the whole property and see if it seems excessive or not. And this is normal. 1975 house, and you just got a little bit of separation between the crown molding. Not a big deal. All right, my SD card is running out on this one, but overall, this property is not bad. I do not say that too often with these older 1975 flips. They have come in and upgraded some key things. We have PVC drain lines. We have PEX water lines in the attic space. We have copper wiring, which in this time period, sometimes there is aluminum, and a new water heater, which is fantastic. So they replaced a lot of the guts. They have a not too old of a roof. Foundation's holding up pretty well, and I don't get to say that too often on a flip home. So good job, whoever flipped this home or took care of it, and hopefully I can find more problems on the next one. Thanks, guys. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks, guys. Bye.